Okay, are we ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're live.
All right, welcome everyone to the City Council meeting for Monday, April 24th. If we could have a roll call, Madam Clerk, to establish a quorum.
David Avanzino.
Present.
Steve Holofield.
Present.
Melissa Green.
Here.
Autumn Slane.
Here.
Harold Meyer.
Here.
And Terry McClung.
I'm here. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Get a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Any additions, corrections? Hearing none.
I was
Yes, ma'am.
hoping that we could add a little update of the sidewalk construction on 62.
Well, it might be best if we wait and have Simon come in and do that. He's more familiar with the day-to-day basis of that.
Okay.
If that's okay, we can put it on the next.
That
next
sounds
time
great with me.
agenda.
Thank you.
Sure. All right. Anybody else? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Get a motion to approve, whoops, we need to defer the minutes for April 10th. They're not quite ready yet, so we'll have those ready by the next meeting, and we'll get a motion to approve those at that time. That brings us up to our commissions, and we got a vacancy still on the CAPC, position 3. In your packet, you'll see the first quarter of 2023 financial report for the parks. And we also have one applicant, Jonathan Teagan. Jonathan was on parks, and he had to quit because of he was running into too much trouble, too much time with he started a new restaurant business. Since then, he's gotten out of the restaurant business, and he would like to get back onto parks again. So we put his application in your files for you. And we got an vacancy on HDC on there. So, public comments. Please limit your time to 3 minutes.
Ferguson Stewart, 7 Harvey Road. I love this down here in the auditorium, so thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for getting this down here, because as a commissioner, I like to be equal with the audience so we can actually see the audience now. So this is great, so thank you. But I'm here to give you some good news, because a lot of time you don't get good news. So I'm going to give you some good news. Big spring cleanup, okay? I'd never done it before as a resident in Eureka. This year I signed up for it. I went to the Public Works. Stephanie over there in the office signed me up for March. April 3rd was the beginning of it at 8 a.m. I had my stuff on the curb, picked up by 8:30. It was gone. All my headaches were gone. So that was wonderful. So thank you. Simon's crew, great crew. They did it, great job. The other side is we recently had a main break, and I love the way they kept the city informed through Facebook. Public Works did a great job. That was a really lot of work. They spent nights. I'm sure there was a lot of meals that they had to eat cold, but they got the work done, and we got the water restored over there on East Mountain and on Harvey Road. So thank you for Simon's crew, and thank you for hiring such a great director. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I think that concludes our public comments for this evening. Which leads us into unfinished business. Get a motion to discuss a resolution in opposition to the HB 1591, Act to amend the Arkansas Retail Pet Store Consumer Protection Act. The motion to discuss.
Motion to discuss. Second.
Ms. Green, I think you're...
I'm really happy with it, and the Humane Society thanks us for doing this. So I'd like to make a motion that we sign the resolution and number and read it into passage, please.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Oh, Mr. Forrest, Jacoby?
Since I wrote this, this state allows puppy mills, which are abhorrent.
Yeah.
We can prevent them in Eureka because we have this jurisdiction, but we don't have jurisdiction outside of Eureka. However, we can control pet shops, and I think this is the gist of what you wanted to
Yes.
get animals adopted.
Yep.
Okay.
Anybody else? All right, got a motion and a second to sign this number and read for passage. Well, I guess we need a voice.
Roll call.
Yeah.
Melissa Green,
Yes.
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
Harry Meyer,
Yes.
Autumn Slane,
Yes.
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Terry McClung.
Yes.
Let me get it pulled up here. All right, assigning resolution number 834, a resolution opposed to retail pet stores, whereas millions of adoptable pets die annually in shelters, whereas there's simply no reason for animals to be bred, sold for pet shop trade when adoptable pets from shelters are readily available. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, that the City of Eureka Springs is opposed to pet shop trade when adoptable pets are readily available.
Thank you very much. That brings us up to our second item of unfinished business, a discussion of annual inspection for short-term and long-term rental. Get a motion for discussion?
Motion to discuss.
Second.
David, do you want to lead us off? I also have the building inspector here too, who just came back from Little Rock and doing a seminar down there for a week on rental inspections. So,
Yeah, actually, I'd like to go ahead and bring, if Jacob, if you can go ahead and come up.
Good evening.
Jacob, if you can just go ahead and start with giving us, I know we've got a lot of information here on other cities throughout the state that have passed ordinances for short-term and long-term rental inspections. They're very thorough, very in-depth. I also see some of the information that was provided for the meeting tonight that you all should have copies of. You can just go through and tell us what needs to be done, what is being done.
Yes, sir. Excuse me. So what I gave you guys tonight are photographs of some short-term, long-term rental property inspections that I've done here in Eureka Springs. This is just a portion of the inspections that I conduct, but a lot of them and what I've found are in desperate need, in dire need of some renovation and repairs, okay? Majority of my code enforcement phone calls I get from residents in Eureka Springs are, we have faulty wiring in our residence, we have no insulation, we have mold, we have large groups of vegetation all throughout our property that's not being attended to. It goes on and on. Exposed electrical wiring inside the homes. Water heaters that are installed improperly, that are installed by unlicensed professionals. The list goes on and on and on. I've crawled under a lot of homes in Eureka Springs, okay? It's a dirty job, I can assure you. And the majority of what I find under there are exposed electrical wiring tethered together with duct tape or electrical tape tied together to accommodate the electrical need to these homes. Well, the issue is that these are all out of code compliance and a major electrical fire hazard, okay? I implore you to City Council to try to help me solve this issue by regulating an ordinance to allow me to go in and inspect these long-term, short-term rental property inspections to make sure that they are being at least the minimum code for health, life, and safety for our residents in Eureka Springs. I don't need to remind you guys, but our town has burned down 3 separate times. We've had 2 rental property inspections in the last 6 months that have caught fire. It's imperative that we take action, and it is the worst thing to do nothing about the situation. So I'm a strong advocate that we need to do something about this, and I think it needs to be taken serious.
So Jacob, some of the pictures that you provided, I want to go through them one by one because
Yes, sir.
I see the picture, but I don't really know what it is.
Yes, sir.
The first picture right here, can you tell us what that is?
That is exterior, that's an exterior electrical outlet in one of the residents here in the downtown, yes, sir, in the downtown fire district in Eureka Springs. As you can see, it's completely non-code compliant. There's a lot of electrical hazards within this picture, meaning that this is around a lot of debris that could basically be kindling for this fire. If an electrical fire sparked, you have all this loose leaves, you have fire timber and debris that could just ignite these fires.
Is that a gas line?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The majority of the electrical that I've come across have been around or in direct contact with gas lines, sir. Romex in particular. The secondary photo right there that you guys can see with the outlet, this is a electrical outlet that's used for an exterior, which should be GFI protected, recessed into the home, and covered with an outdoor electrical plate. This is just thrown on the ground for an exterior lighting and a 110. This is just wired together and taped together to work.
Well, at least it has a ground.
Very true. The third photo is a structural component to a residential long-term rental property inspection. This was noticed during a inspection where the support beam that's sitting down on this concrete footer is not completely fully sat on the footer. This should be a post-based connector connecting this to that concrete. This is, as you can tell, is not fully sitting on it, and it's supporting 4 upper decks of a decking that was not going to be repaired and was just going to be left alone.
It's not even vertical, is it?
No, sir. The other photo I have here is electrical tape with multiple types of wiring connected together that was stuffed up into old insulation underneath a flooring of a home next to a water heater with no expansion tape, no pressure relief valve on it, and it was starting to melt in some portions of the Romex wiring that was in direct relation to a gas pipe. Anybody who knows anything about Romex, it heats up. So when that is in direct contact to a gas pipe, I don't need to tell you, that could lead to an ultimate explosion. Next to a water heater, that could be catastrophic to those residents and the neighboring neighbors. The other photo is plumbing that I came across into a residential inspection. This is a home that's been rented to some people here in town that has been corrected, but it's been left exposed. They chose not to cover it up and seal it up, as well as a connection into the hard pipe. It's kind of hard to tell on this photo, but it's not fully sealed on there. And this is a sewage line that has been seeping and leaking into the bottom of the structure from the interior walls. Okay, this is something that, unbeknownst to me, I crawled around in underneath it until I realized that it was live sewage that's been underneath this house for however long, I'm not sure.
Is that a gas line there too?
No, sir. The other photo is exposed electrical wiring that's been left to be unattended, exposed in a home, in a ceiling, which can ultimately lead to all kinds of electrical fires. Very hazardous for anybody to touch or to reach up in there. I felt necessary to show this because the majority of the homes that I inspect here, rental, short-term or long-term, have these exposed electrical wirings in the homes. No cover plates on the junction boxes, just complete electrical wiring just exposed. Some of it's still cloth insulated, which is completely
That looks
out of
like
code.
it's cloth. in
It
that.
is, yes, sir. Completely out of code. And I can't tell you how long this has been going on. But fortunately, there hasn't been a fire, so hopefully this can get corrected before there is one. The other photo is more exposed electrical wiring that is in a home that is full of gas lines, improper wiring all throughout the home. Now, I could go on. I have, in the short time that I've been here, since November, performing inspections, I have over 2,500 photos of similar incidences that I've come across in Eureka Springs. I've been in the building trades for a very long time, okay? I've seen a lot of things, but nothing so extreme than what I've seen in these homes. They've been unattended for a grossly large amount of time without any kind of resolution to solve these problems. Now, what I come across too, in addition is the renters who are renting these properties are in fear of saying anything to their homeowners, in fear of retaliation to evict them from their properties. The majority of these people fear that they will be evicted if they complain about it. There's no ordinances in place with the city. There's no laws that protect them for this, and nobody's doing anything about it. So I felt compelled to try to help them and try to solve this issue by creating an ordinance to assist the renters in this town, which are the backbone of Eureka Springs. These are people that work in our restaurants, in our grocery stores, in our gas stations. These people have a right to live in a safe home where they're not in worry of their home blowing up or their home catching fire, causing more fires to spread. The homes in this town are in conditions where they're all old, dry wood, which is easily combustible and highly flammable, okay? There's no fire draft, no fireproofing to prevent the spread of a fire in case there is a fire. So that's why I felt compelled to come to you guys to establish a basic inspection list. If you can see, if you flip back in your pages, short-term, long-term rental inspection checklist, okay? If you look through it, and I'll give you guys time to take a look at it, it's basically very reasonable checklist. This is something that covers, I believe, every major important component in a home. Any structure of 3 or more units that are required to be sprinklered to meet the Arkansas Fire Prevention Code, Volume 2. Must have smoke alarms, either battery operated with radio feature, preferred or interconnected hardwired on every floor, in every bedroom, every outside bedrooms per Arkansas Fire Prevention Code. Carbon monoxide detectors are not installed in a lot of these short-term and long-term rental property inspections, and they have gas. Portable space heaters are used throughout these homes, where I walk into a lot of them, they're brushed up against a lot of combustible material, beds, sofas, near blankets. Now, these things are huge fire hazards. If educating these people on why they need to have some separation from these combustible materials is imperative. A lot of these people don't know this, or they forget this. I believe that regulated inspections for these homes would reiterate the importance of making sure these things are not near combustible material. Extension cords. I've seen extension cords tied in together with Romex wiring to create electrical power. The list goes on and on, but if you guys can take a look, I mean, nothing in this list is, I believe, asking a lot. This is just minimum requirements for health, life, and safety, as well as sanitation. The back of the list is a more of an extensive interior and exterior inspection list. This list is done so with the intent on preventative maintenance and property maintenance to keep the property values up in the city of Eureka Springs, to maintain the looks and the general condition of the properties in Eureka Springs. I'm not asking you guys to pass them all, but I'm highly recommending that you guys look at them and understand the current condition of a lot of the homes in Eureka Springs. Anybody have any questions?
I want to say thank you, number one. These photos are alarming. And just to be clear, we are asking for just a minimum standard, minimum protection of life and health and safety. We're not asking anyone to go above and beyond any kind of inspection. And I think you've done a good job at presenting what needs to happen. And I think the last city council meeting we had, Forrest, we had talked about coming up with some ordinances and getting, okay. So, I mean, I would like to see us move forward with these ordinances, or some ordinances, to be put in place to protect our short and long-term renters and residents of Eureka Springs.
He went to Little Rock. Here's some of the paperwork he came back with. This is North Little Rock, and I don't know how many pages this is, 10 pages, 9 pages. It's way too detailed and specific for us. However, we should be able to come up with something that works for a town of our size, or we can cut this down to what would work for us.
Okay.
Ms. Lane?
I think as we're making these changes and ordinances, I am concerned, just even with the first bullet point here, the sprinkler systems. I know that's an expensive project. So what could we offer these people that now have to get a sprinkler system, for instance, and none of this, has been required in the past, and now they have to meet these requirements? Is there something that we can do? Maybe, within 5 years you have to get this done, or there's a time period, or a financial, once it reaches over $30,000, maybe you have 5 years to complete the project. I think that putting these rules and regulations and then a snap of our fingers and this is what it has to be is a little bit unfeasible for a lot of homeowners and people that have not budgeted this in their budgets for repair. But I definitely agree. Arkansas has very minimal state requirements for housing. So I think it's sad, and we deserve better than that. I totally agree.
Well, I completely agree with you when it comes to the sprinkler. I mean, I understand that sprinkler system to install and to renovate your home for a sprinkler system can be exhaustingly expensive. But there are preventative measures that you can take that are cost effective that you could do to prevent the actual the spread of fire. And that's just mandating smoke alarm and carbon monoxide combination detectors. Being aware of what's happening and then taking care of it with fire extinguishers that are implemented, that are required by the homeowners and required by the city to have, that have been inspected and then have to be accessible to use in case of a fire. I believe that is a good move to fight that. I mean, I understand it could be expensive, but having those just little tiny preventative measures would be helpful in that aspect. Now, if there's a whole renovation or reconstruction of that property, that would be the opportune time to take advantage of possibly instituting that and getting the sprinkler systems in there. And there's all kinds of new technologies that are coming out to where having a major full-on fire sprinkler system may not be necessary. There's things that are coming out, technology that's being developed that's going to be more feasibly, financially feasible for people to do, to implement in these homes.
Yeah, because I know our sprinkler system, $30,000 to $50,000, and we're in a tri-level. We've been required to do that, and that's just a lot of money for somebody that, maybe has 3 units of a monthly rental. But with that being said, I know that these things need to be, like you said, at least some of these things have to be forward towards being more safe. But I just want to be cautious in this because this is taking a short-term and long-term rental into more of a business avenue, which I'm with, that should happen. But I think we should just be cautious because the sprinkler system,
Yes, ma'am.
instantly that's going to be $30,000 for somebody.
For sure. And like I said, it's, go ahead, sir.
Do you have something to say, Kim? Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I thought I heard her.
Just a quick, on the bullet point 1 that Ms. Lane brought up, could be required to be sprinkled. With the Arkansas Fire Code, can these units be protected with the smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, and fire extinguishers in lieu of a full $30,000 sprinkler system?
Absolutely, and like I said, it's a case-by-case basis. It all depends. There's many variables that go into these inspections, okay? That's absolutely correct. There's things that you can do with draft stop, fire protection that you can do, locating penetrations through the subfloor, penetrations in areas where fire can spread easily if they get that oxygen. It's called annual spaces. If you can seal those spaces with fireproofing and fire draft and fire stop, you can prevent the fire spread index. So there are things that you can do to bypass the need for a sprinkler system. But doing nothing about this is the wrong thing to do. And I think we all need to take in consideration where we live, the history of this town, logistical means to getting to the fire if need be. I think just taking that all into consideration, there's ways to find a solution to this other than not doing anything. Yes, sir.
I know on Spring Street there was a new short-term rental built, and they were required to put a sprinkler system in, and because they have 4 units. So I would probably say anything that's being built that's going to be more than 3 units, probably it would be a lot easier to do that.
For new construction?
Yes.
I absolutely agree. I think taking that advantage of the time to do your renovation, to installing these and thinking about the potential dangers of the fire spread in this area, being Tree City, USA, being the condition in the old buildings, I think taking advantage of that, I think would be a great opportunity to do that.
Well, I have short-term rentals, and it's a business. I make money.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
long-term rentals are the same. People don't do it for the goodness of their hearts. They do it to make money.
Right, yes, ma'am.
And so I am 100% behind you. We need to do better because these houses are old and they're fire hazards. And boy, you catch one, you can catch 3 or 4 on.
Yes, ma'am. And I mean, to be honest, a lot of the inspections that I see, and I inspect for fire draft and fireproofing, none of it's there. These are things that have been, just overseen and just not enforced. And I think now is the opportune time to really just put our foot down, work with the homeowners, work with the property owners to handle this situation. So,
Mr. McClung?
I'd like to suggest, because, I'm as safety conscious as anybody, and I was 20 years on the fire department, and we certainly don't have the fires that we used to have, and that's for a lot of reasons, but I would like to suggest a workshop, including the public in that, primarily those that own these type of properties. I think it's fair that they are involved in the process, and so we can listen to them and form exactly what it is we want to do for the ordinance if we decide to do one. And it looks like that's kind of the leanings that everybody's got at this table, but I think we need to, bring that into focus and listen to them and make sure that we're on the right path here.
And I completely agree with you. I mean, they should have something to say, and that
Sure,
they should be a part of this. But one thing I'd like to add to as well is discussing this extensively with James Cowan, the fire marshal, talking to former fire chiefs about this, talking to the state's fire inspectors about this. I can honestly tell you, sir, that everybody is in agreement to having something implemented for preventative measures in case of a major catastrophe.
Not arguing that.
So I completely agree with you. I believe that everybody's input matters, especially property owners and homeowners. So I'm in complete agreement.
The new building codes are a complicated issue when you're reading building codes. A lot of what Jacob has listed here is already in the building codes. There's no need for an ordinance in there. It's a requirement for new construction. I think anything over maybe 3 or 4 units be sprinkled in multifamily, unless you have firewalls.
Yes, sir.
Or a townhouse. Now, there's exceptions in there if you have a townhouse and you build it that way. But for your old homes, 1890 homes or whatever that's been converted over, a lot of those are grandfathered in. And that's where we come back to the other part of, and it's in our, I don't know, the fire department's always been inspecting for cords, extension cords, and carbon monoxide detectors and stuff like that that's already existing. I think it would be helpful and benefit for the public to realize, and Jacob can help us get the not only our fire marshal but our state fire marshal up here and some other people who deal with the codes on a daily basis and talk about this.
So in a workshop type form?
In a
or
workshop,
something?
they can
That'd be great.
put on a, they're talk about the codes and fire prevention, and let the public know what's going on and what it's about. Steve?
Also, I think you need to include the insurance folks in this process. And that, as a business, if these homeowners or renters see that they can actually lower their insurance, that's another carrot for them
Yes,
to
sir.
cooperate.
Very good
with
point.
this.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I think ultimately, you have your grandfather clause, you have building codes, and all of that, basically it comes down to one single topic: safe for human occupancy. What does the building code interpret, and what do these inspections identify to make sure that these homes are safe for human occupancy? Bottom line. And as a building inspector, as a building official, and any inspector will tell you, that's the first thing we look at: life, health, and safety, sanitation. Those are major things that goes into everything that we decide, deciding factors. That's everything we look at in a combination. So, yes, sir.
So, Jacob, you can't grandfather a 2-wire wiring system with cloth wrap?
No, sir, you cannot. That would have to be brought up in minimum code, yes, sir.
Anybody else? I'll get with Jacob and I will get together, and I'm sure you met a lot of good contacts in last week and in a couple of your other courses that we'll get together and put together some people to come up and help us with a workshop and
Yes, sir, and
discuss multifamily.
yes, sir, and I had directors from the from code enforcement down there in Little Rock, as well as the building inspectors, that say they'd be happy to come up here and talk to you guys about how they're implementing this down there, the importance of doing so, and they'd be happy to come up here and talk to you guys about it. So,
There's a lot of old houses in North Little Rock, too.
yes, sir, there are quite a bit. They got their hands full down there, that's for sure. That's one thing I noticed. They're busy.
Anyone else? All right, thank you very much, Jake.
All right, thank you, everybody, for your time. I
Thank you
appreciate
for
it.
the information.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. You want to explain what you did, Madam Clerk?
I misspoke on the number for retail pet store resolution. It's actually going to be 836, not 834. I apologize.
All right. Our next item will
Do
be
we
under
need a
new
motion
business.
for that last,
What?
for us to get started on the, or are we having a workshop?
We'll be having a workshop.
Okay.
Well, as soon as we get the people put together,
Okay.
because we want code enforcement and building inspectors and other people to come up here.
Okay.
So
Just making
it's
sure.
not, I think that would be the best way to get the information out that's, that would help the public.
Yep.
So,
Thank you.
all right, new business resolution to waive bidding to purchase financial and operating system for the Eureka Springs Hospital.
Motion to discuss.
Second.
All right. Do I have anybody here from the hospital? Okay. We were supposed to have somebody here. What this is, let me, all right, go ahead, Madam Clerk. I can't find mine.
So Cerner has, from my understanding with the hospital, when they requested this resolution, is Cerner is the most competitive. They couldn't find anyone that was willing to really bid even close to this range. So it's a one-time implementation cost, and then $50,000 a month, which we're currently paying $58,000 a month for the operating system at the hospital. So it'll save $8,000 a month, I believe, with this.
And there's not another company out there that can provide this system. Yeah,
And it is budgeted.
right, and it is budgeted. Right. Mr. McClung?
Why did this come before us? They've never had before. Anything that the hospital's done is,
Mr. McClung, I don't know, they came before us and want us to waive the biddings, and so I brought it before us. I can't speak for what's happened in the past.
okay, then let me ask this, since it's in front of us, is this something that they pay now?
Yes. It's a different company, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
I think it may be, Mr. McClung, that before it was under a lease arrangement with a company, and so it didn't need to come before us. Now that it's under the city, that it's got to comply with the city regulations.
And if the hospital wants to accept Medicare and Medicaid, they have to update the system because the current one is not in compliance, I believe.
Without Medicare and Medicaid, the hospital dies.
I would certainly like to have them present.
Yeah.
I really would. I'd like to.
Well, you can defer it until the next meeting. Make a motion to defer it.
I make a motion to do so, to defer this till the next meeting.
I'll second.
I'm not opposed to it, it just,
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion on deferring it? All right, hearing that, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
all right?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. All right, next item is a public hearing to vacate Inman Street between Block 12 and Block 13.
Motion to discuss.
Second.
This is a street that's, Inman Street is right off of German Alley between Cushing and Cliff. It really goes right into the old Builders or Perkins Supply. It's kind of dead ends there. And so they're wanting to vacate this section, being able to use that for parking in through there. And this is a resolution just to set the public hearing. Mr. McClung.
I looked at this, and I'm very familiar with this property, as I used to live down here. And this is the lumberyard property here at Block 12, and the new house is right here.
Uh-huh. I'm wondering if that new house, his driveway isn't already in it.
Probably,
Yes.
probably. And that was always just there, and it was never used for anything other than the delivery truck. How they stored Celotex and sheetrock, and, well, not sheetrock, it was inside, but that was just lumber storage and everything along
Yeah,
that
I'm
through
sure.
there. So The only thing that I'm curious about is, and I assume that they're both in agreements, the way that it was not split up right down the middle, which is traditionally how we do that.
Right.
And there is a survey that shows the way they're splitting it, and I guess they're both in agreement with that.
I believe they are, and at this point, this is just setting a public hearing. It's not going in for an ordinance or anything else, just a public hearing.
Oh, well, okay. I make a motion that we give them a public hearing date.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oops. We need a roll call? Yeah. Okay.
Terry McClellan.
Oh, we need a number, I guess.
Roll call.
No.
Oh, no,
We're just
okay.
setting the public hearing date.
Okay, you're right, go
And
ahead.
I say yes.
So Terry McClellan, Harry Meyer,
Yes.
Melissa Green,
Yes.
Autumn Slane,
Yes.
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
David Avanzino.
Yes.
So really, they're just wanting to go just two.
All right, assigning resolution number 837, I got it right that time, a resolution to set a public hearing date for consideration of vacating a section of Inman Street, whereas the property owner of lots 1 and 2 and block 13 of the Riley and Armstrong survey has submitted a petition to the City of Eureka Springs to vacate an unused section of Inman Street running north and south. And whereas the signed petition was submitted to the council in regular session on April 24, 2023, along with a copy of the plat showing the streets, alleys, and adjoining lots. And whereas Arkansas Code 14301-302C provides that the city council shall, by resolution, fix a day for the hearing of the petition filed to vacate a street or alley, and whereas the law further directs the city clerk to give notice of the meeting by publication once per week for 2 consecutive weeks in some newspaper published in Carroll County, Arkansas, and having general circulation in the city. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of Eureka Springs, the petition to vacate the above described street is set to hearing on May 22nd, 2023 at 6 p.m. in the auditorium of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, and the city clerk shall give notice of this meeting by publication as set forth by Arkansas Code 14301-302C.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, but I didn't get a copy of the map or any of the details. So
Mine? You have mine.
I was just wondering,
It-
the 2 property owners have made a deal?
It's in the application. The budding property owners are required by state statute for there even to be a hearing. So yes, the property owners have signed off on that, and there's a survey and plat and everything there. And if you need more info, I got it.
Any other questions? All right, next item of business is the first quarter financial summary.
Motion to discuss.
Second?
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second.
Alrighty, so this time around, I decided to give more of a visual representation rather than have an ominous stack of papers sitting next to me. This will give you comparisons of all 4 quarters last year, along with this quarter. Basically, it's just what we spent on accounts payable, cash receipts, and payroll. This is just something I'm required to present via state statute, is the quarterly financials. And then the other 2 pages will look familiar to you. Those are from the finance department. I'm required to present those as well. And they made lovely little charts and graphs for me. But the first one is going to be the newer one, and you can compare to the last 4 quarters to this quarter.
Any questions? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to our item number 4, ordinance amending ordinance 1797, which is the ordinance addressing the use of jake brakes. it was pointed out to me recently by Municipal League that Jake Brake is a patented name, and our ordinance says we cannot use Jake Brakes, and I think there's a...
Motion to discuss?
Yeah.
Second.
Motion and second, so that's what this ordinance is about. Just
Compression
changing
release.
the name from Jake Brakes to generic terms.
That would be
The
a
engine
compression.
brake.
Compression release, yeah.
Yeah. Any questions? Mr. McClung?
I'd like to make a motion, we sign this ordinance and number and put it on its first reading.
Second.
Okay, motions by Mr. McClung, second by Ms. Green. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Signing ordinance number 2337, an ordinance amending Chapter 716, Section 10 of the Eureka Springs Municipal Code, whereas ordinance number 1797 passed 1027 of 98 uses the term Jake Brakes, whereas Jake Brake is a patented brand name that now therefore be it hereby ordained by the City Council of City of Eureka Springs. Municipal Code, Section 716, Chapter 10, shall be amended to the use of engine brakes shall not be permitted within city limits. Section 2, all references to in Municipal Code to Jake Brakes are hereby repealed.
Mr. McClung?
Motion to approve. What was the ordinance number again?
2337.
2337. Motion to approve ordinance number 2337 on its first reading.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Mr. McClung?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to suspend the rules and place ordinance number 2037 up for its second reading by title only.
Second.
Mr. McClung made the motion, and Mr. Myers seconded. Put the ordinance up for the second reading by title only. Any further discussion? Okay.
Roll call.
Was-
Huh.
Go ahead.
Autumn Slane,
Yes.
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
Terry McClung,
Yes.
Melissa Green,
Yes.
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Harry Meyer.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2337, an ordinance amending Chapter 716, Section 10 of Eureka Springs Municipal Code.
Mr. McClung?
I'd like to make a motion we pass ordinance number 2337 on the second reading.
Second.
Okay. Motion by Mr. McClung and passed, second by Mr. Meyer.
I do have a
Two.
question, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
One, how did this come about?
Municipal League notified me that this was, one of the other cities got into a little lawsuit over it.
And so the emergency clause is needed. I just wanted to clarify that.
Right.
Okay. Okay, that's all we got.
It's a patent name, and so if we issued somebody a ticket and they weren't using a Jake brake, we'd probably lose.
Might have been Flintstone brakes.
Yeah. All right. Any further discussion?
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Melissa Green,
Yes.
Harry Meyer,
Yes.
Terry McClung,
Yes.
Autumn Slane,
Yes.
Steve Holofield.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2337, an ordinance amending Chapter 716, Section 10 of the Eureka Springs Municipal Code.
Mr. McClung?
We need to, I'd like to make a motion that we approve, I think I already did this, ordinance number 2337 on its second reading.
Second.
Yes, that was the vote we just took then.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'd like to make a motion that we approve, suspend the rules, and we read ordinance number 2337 for its third and final reading by title only.
Second.
Okay. Mr. McClung made the motion. Mr. Myers second to read by title only.
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
Terry McClung,
Yeah.
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Melissa Green,
Yes.
Autumn Slane,
Yes.
Harry Meyer.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2337, an ordinance amending Chapter 716, Section 10 of the Eureka Springs Municipal Code.
Mr. McClung.
Make a motion, we go ahead and approve ordinance 2337 on its third reading.
Second.
All right, Mr. McClung made the motion, Mr. Myers seconded to read it for third and final reading.
Harry Meyer,
Yes.
Melissa Green,
Yes.
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Terry McClung,
Yes.
Autumn Slane.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2337, an ordinance amending Chapter 716, Section 10 of the Eureka Springs Municipal Code.
If I can make a motion to invoke the emergency clause, please.
Second.
Is that Mr. Avanzino? Okay. Mr. McClung made the motion, Mr. Avanzino seconded to read the emergency clause.
Melissa Green,
Yes.
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
Harry Meyer,
Yes.
Autumn Slane,
Yes.
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Terry McClung.
Yes.
Emergency clause, section 3, that due to the need to consistently apply all laws and ordinances of the city of Eureka Springs for the health and safety of the citizens of the city, an emergency is hereby declared to exist, and the ordinance shall take effect upon passage by the Eureka Springs City Council and signing by the Eureka Springs Mayor and City Clerk Treasurer.
All right, thank you. All right, next item, new business is ordinance permitting Sharisa Litherland to hold employment with the city. Motion to discuss.
So moved.
Get a second.
Second.
All right, these, actually, both these next two ordinances are dealing with, actually, they're, Sharisa is a Parks and Recreation Commissioner, and she works part-time for the city auditorium as an usher. And so we're needing to have an emergency clause, or needing to have an ordinance allowing her to work for the city.
I don't have copies of these.
I know, I don't either.
Thanks.
It has to be done by ordinance?
Thank you.
I think so. I think Mr.
The municipal league says we need to do this. It eliminates any question of impropriety of someone working for a commission, then working for the city. If somebody from the CAPC wanted to work for the CAPC in the auditorium, I would say no. But parks is one thing, and
Auditorium.
auditorium, yeah.
Not
Yeah, it's a nice gig, $25 an hour, but municipal
I
league
want that
says,
job.
municipal league says we've got to pass these, and they want them passed, so here it is.
I make a motion, we assign this ordinance a number and read it for passage.
Second.
All right. Mr. McClung made the motion to assign a number and read for passage, and Mr. Myers seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.
These don't need an emergency clause, do they?
Yes.
Actually, we do, because for it to take effect immediately, because they want to get in on the militia outreach concert, which is coming up maybe.
I
They
see.
need people.
So we got to slip it in so they can be appropriate for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Ordinance number assigning 2338, an ordinance permitting Charissa Dennis Litherland to hold employment with the city of Eureka Springs, whereas the city of Eureka Springs, Arkansas has a need for qualified personnel, and whereas restricting employment of employees to exclude city commissioners would in some cases handicap the city's effort to employ qualified personnel in such positions, and whereas Arkansas Code 1442-107 prohibits such employment in the absence of an authorizing ordinance, now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, with the understanding that Teresa Litherland is a Parks and Recreation Commissioner of the City of Eureka Springs. Teresa Litherland is hereby authorized to hold part-time employment as an auditorium usher at the hourly wage of $25 per hour in consideration of said employment.
I'd like to make a motion, we approve ordinance number 2338 on its first reading.
Second.
And Mr. McClung made the motion to approve it on first reading. Mr. Alvenzino seconded. Any further discussion?
I have one question, if I may.
Yes, sir.
And that is, she's not a paid employee for the parks. She's just a commissioner.
She's just a commissioner.
That's what the municipal league says, and there's a Arkansas code apparently which is appropriate.
Okay.
Don't ask me why, but that's what they want. We'll give it to
All
them.
right, too late, I already did.
That's our state law.
Good enough answer.
Just conforming to state law.
Good enough answer for me.
All right. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so moved.
I guess I'll continue the process and make a motion that we suspend the rules and read ordinance number 2338 by title only for its second reading.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All right.
Terry McClung,
Yes.
Harry Meyer,
Yes.
Melissa Green,
Yes.
Autumn Slane,
Yes.
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
David Avanzino.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2338, an ordinance permitting Teresa Dennis Litherland to hold employment with the City of Eureka Springs.
Mr. McClung.
Make a motion that we approve ordinance 2338 on its second reading.
Second.
All right. Mr. McClung made the motion to approve, and Mr. Meyer seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
Autumn Slane,
Yes.
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
Terry McClung,
Yes.
Melissa Green,
Yes.
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Harry Meyer.
Yes.
Mr. McClung.
I'd like to make a motion that we suspend the rules and read ordinance number 2338 on its third and final reading
Second.
by title only.
Second.
Okay. Mr. McClung made the motion. Mr. Avanzino seconded.
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Melissa Green,
Yes.
Harry Meyer,
Yes.
Terry McClung,
Yes.
Autumn Slane,
Yes.
Steve Holofield.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2338, an ordinance permitting Teresa Dennis Litherland to hold employment with the City of Eureka Springs.
All right. So
Do we need where are we?
we need to approve.
Approve it?
Approve it.
I make a motion we approve this ordinance number 2338 on its third reading.
I'll second.
All right. Mr. McClung made the motion. Mr. Meyer seconded. Approve ordinance 2338 on its third and final reading.
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
Terry McClung,
Yes.
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Harry Meyer,
Yes.
Autumn Slane,
Yes.
Melissa Green.
Yes.
I make a motion that we invoke the emergency clause for this
Second.
ordinance.
Did Mr. Meyer second? Okay. Mr. McClung made the motion. Mr. Meyer seconded to read the emergency clause. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
Harry Meyer,
Yes.
Melissa Green,
Yes.
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Terry McClung,
Yep.
Autumn Slane.
Yes.
Emergency clause, that due to need to consistently apply all laws and ordinances of the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas for the health and safety of the citizens of the city, an emergency is hereby declared to exist, and this ordinance shall take effect upon passage of the Eureka Springs City Council and signing by the Eureka Springs Mayor and City Clerk Treasurer.
It brings us up to item number 6, ordinance permitting Christine Santorum to hold employment.
Sunday morning.
Santamore. Yeah, all right.
Motion to discuss?
Motion to discuss.
Second.
Second. All right, same situation, except Christine is a member of the Historic District Commission and wants to work for the auditorium as a part-time usher.
Okay, I make a motion that we
We're going to switch, Mr. Meyer.
assign this ordinance a number for passage and read it for passage.
Get a second?
Second.
Okay, Ms. Green made the second? Yeah, all right. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so moved.
Ordinance number 2339, an ordinance permitting Christine Harwood Santamore to hold employment with the City of Eureka Springs, whereas the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas has need for qualified personnel, and whereas restricting employment of employees to exclude city commissioners would in some cases handicap the city's efforts to employ qualified personnel in such positions, whereas Arkansas Code 1442-107 prohibits such employment in the absence of an authorizing ordinance. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, with the understanding that Christine Santamore is a historic district commissioner of the City of Eureka Springs. Christine Santamore is hereby authorized to hold part-time employment as an auditorium usher at an hourly wage of $25 per hour in consideration of said employment.
Make a motion that we pass ordinance 2339 on its first reading.
Second.
All right, Mr. Meyer made the motion to pass, approve 2339, first reading. Mr. McClung seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so moved.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules and read ordinance 2339 on its second reading by title only.
Second.
All right, Mr. Meyer made the motion, and Ms. Slane seconded to approve it on by title only.
Melissa Green,
Yes.
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
Harry Meyer,
Yes.
Autumn Slane,
Yes.
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Terry McClung.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2339, an ordinance permitting Christine Harwood Santamore to hold employment with the City of Eureka Springs.
I make a motion we pass ordinance 2339 on its second reading.
Second.
All right, Mr. Meyer made the motion, Ms. Green seconded to pass this on second reading. Any further discussion? Hearing none?
Terry McClung,
Yes.
Harry Meyer,
Yeah.
Melissa Green,
Yes.
Autumn Slane,
Yes.
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
David Avanzino.
Yes.
I move that we suspend the rules and read ordinance 2339 on its third reading by title only.
Second.
Mr. Meyer made the motion, Ms. Slane seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none?
Autumn Slane,
Yes.
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
Terry McClung,
Yes.
Melissa Green,
Yes.
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Harry Meyer.
Yeah.
Ordinance number 2339, ordinance permitting Christine Harwood Santamore to hold employment with the City of Eureka Springs.
I move that we pass ordinance 2339 on its third reading.
Second.
All right, motion by Mr. Myers, second by Ms. Green, to pass on third reading. Any further discussion? Hearing none?
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Melissa Green,
Yes.
Harry Meyer,
Yes.
Terry McClung,
Yes.
Autumn Slane,
Yes.
Steve Holofield.
Yes.
I move that we invoke the emergency clause on
Second.
2339.
All right, Mr. Meyer made the motion to read the emergency clause, and Mr. Holyfield seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none?
Steve Holofield,
Yes.
Terry McClung,
Yes.
David Avanzino,
Yes.
Melissa Green,
Yes.
Autumn Slane,
Yes.
Harry Meyer.
Yeah.
Emergency clause that due to the need to consistently apply all laws and ordinances of the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas for the health and safety of the citizens of the city, an emergency is hereby declared to exist. And this ordinance shall take effect upon passage by the Eureka Springs City Council and signing by the Eureka Springs Mayor and City Clerk Treasurer.
All right, thank you. All right, that brings us up to agenda setting, and we already have one item, but we'll have Public Works here to discuss the sidewalks at our next meeting. Does anybody else have anything else? If not, we'll go to our,
Oh, yes, please.
okay.
Water rates,
Water
water
rates.
sewer rates. We need to discuss raising them.
What do you want, your, just discussion, general discussion?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, anybody else? All right, we'll go into council comments. Mr. Almazino, I'll start on your side.
I have none. Thank you.
Mr. Holyfield.
CIPC hiring committee met last week, interviewed 3 applicants, and we'll meet on this coming Wednesday, I guess, the final vote to hire the director of the CIPC. And that's all right.
Would that be at your normal meeting?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
As normal meeting, it's at 6 o'clock on Wednesday.
Okay. Ms. Green?
I'm just going to bring up, we had a commissioner that served on the planning for probably over 10 years, Jim Morris. I was just told he passed in January, so I'd like to say rest in peace. And he was a really nice man, so I think he needed a shout out.
Thank you. Ms. Slane?
I just want to thank Jacob and Michael tonight for coming in and speaking with us. And Ferguson, thank you. It's always good to see you. That's all.
Mr. Myers?
Well, we lost a fixture in Eureka Springs last week. Gates Magoo passed on us. I don't know if anybody knows about him, but he played with the Skinny Gypsies for years and was quite a popular musician. Besides that, the water leak on Alexander Street was a dandy. I got covered with mud when the second joint blew apart, and 3 guys nearly got washed down the hill, but they got her fixed. They hung in there.
Mr. McClung?
I just want to thank the city, or I guess is the best way to do it, for a successful weekend, or I'm proud of the city for the successful weekend that it had. I know springtime of the Ozarks has come and gone again this past weekend, and but they had a great turnout, and they all just love it here. They really do, and thank Scott for greeting them for the city down here at the auditorium both nights. That was good of him to do that. The mayor represents the city up at the end of the Ozarks, and so I appreciate their efforts to do that. I know the motorcycle thing, I think it went off pretty well. Spring fling, as well as the carvers. There was a hell of a lot of sawdust up there. I know, behind McDonald's yesterday afternoon when I went by there. So a good weekend, I think, was had by all. A lot of people will tell their friends and send them here, I do believe.
All right, thank you, Mr. McClung. Kind of segue in what Mr. McClung was talking about, I want to, and Mr. Meyer both, I want to thank the Public Works for their hard and dedicated effort on the water leak we had on Alexander Street. That's an 8-inch water line. It blew apart, and if you went by, maybe you looked on Facebook, it looked like we had a waterfall all the way down on Main Street. Real pretty. Real scary when you consider where it was coming from. It tore out part of the road and it blew out. They just got it fixed when the upper part blew out. And so I really do want to appreciate Kevin Barrows and his crew for coming over and helping us out. They did a great job on emergency. They came immediately over because it was really too much for just our crew by itself, and they were all out there. We had to put in new fittings. We had to get from Coring Concrete, I believe, over in Rogers. They came over. So it was a big deal. The water towers came down to within 7 feet of being completely drained, and so we didn't have to go into a boil order. which I was very grateful considering we had a full house. Mr. McClung said with Springtime in the Ozarks and Spring Fling, I don't think there was too many rooms left. And I'm real grateful that they were able to get it all fixed by Friday evening. So y'all did a great job. I appreciate it very much. Also, another compliment I got from Springtime in the Ozarks, the gentleman that does that, and he does a lot of these conferences all over the United States, says he never gets welcomed like he does here in Eureka Springs. And he really thinks they appreciate that in the auditorium and up to the convention center. So that's what it's about. It's hospitality in through here. And, you know, and carrying on with that, we got a lot more stuff coming up this next couple of weeks. We'll have the Yards and Yards of Yard sales on Friday and Saturday, April 28th and 29th. And then in Music in the Park by the State House Electric on April 29th from 4 to 6. The Plein Air Festival, May 1st through May 6th. We'll have over 30 artists participating in various paintouts in scenic locations around Eureka Springs and surrounding area. This is a 5-day festival, and that includes nightly art exhibits of work done that day. So that's always a fun little festival to go to and watch. And then Melissa Etheridge concerts, May the 5th at the auditorium here. Little Wings Productions is presenting Melissa, who's one of the rock music icons, singing some songs such as Bring Me Some Water, No Souvenirs, and Ain't It Heavy, for which she won her first Grammy. And that starts, doors will open at 6 and starts at 7:30. The Outrageous Parade, our famous, my favorite anyway, parade, among our minis, May 6th at 2 p.m. It's the official kickoff for May Festival of the Arts in Eureka Springs and one of the most popular parades of all year. So come on out and help us celebrate. And then on the 6th also, we'll have the pop-up Shakespeare. And evidently you'll never know when Shakespeare will pop up in downtown Eureka. We'll have 2 performances each Saturday with 4 actors representing the highly entertaining lover scene from Midsummer Night. Then Music in the Park by Hogtown Hot Club, May the 6th, from 3 to 5. And then back, after several years because of COVID, we'll have the gallery stroll downtown, May 6th, from 6 to 8. So a lot of things going on the next couple of weeks. Get out and enjoy and have fun and listen to music and welcome people to town. And there's nothing else. I'd call for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.